Our next guest has been a key actor in spending negotiations, as well as all of his other duties in his portfolio as Secretary of the Department of Treasury. Joining us tonight is Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. Mr. Secretary, great to have you with us. I want to begin, first of all, congratulations on the spending package. Secondly, USMCA. Thirdly, and perhaps we could rearrange the order, the China-U.S. Phase 1 deal. It's been a busy week for you, but with your portfolio, I know you're not surprised at what can be done in a week. Great to have you with us.
Thanks, Lou. It's great to be with you as well. And as you said, it's been a great week for President Trump's economic plan. And we couldn't be happier with getting appropriations done. It's a lot of money for the military, big investment in our military. The president got the Space Force, and a lot of wins for the president in this bill.
And the American people. This has been extraordinary. And I think there is a sizable number of people, and even some of them Trump supporters, who are surprised that, well, in modern history, to have a president now who actually does what he says he will do, who delivers on campaign promises. He said he was going to create prosperity for America and for all Americans, and by God, he's done so.
Absolutely. He's delivering on all his promises, and he's building a great economy for American companies and American workers.
We are hearing a number of wags. As a friend of mine used to say, every dog has his fleas, detractors. And with USMCA, we're hearing from some quarters that they think that this new deal isn't as good as the old deal. Your reaction when you read that as kind of assessment?
I think they don't know what they're talking about. This deal is so much better than the old deal. I think this is going to add about 50 basis points of growth to GDP. This has all new types of things, all new types of protections. And I think Ambassador Lighthizer just did a fabulous job negotiating and closing this deal.
And going through all that works out to about $1.3 trillion. It's a larger deal than the U.S. China trade deal that you and Ambassador Lighthizer have been working on for more than a year now. Are you where you think it should be? Is this the deal that the president is going to be satisfied with, or is it going to take a lot more?
No, absolutely. Well, first of all, in the USMCA, this has been a major priority for the president in making sure that we bring jobs back to the U.S., and I think this will absolutely accomplish it in making sure that we have great trading relationships with Mexico and Canada. And on China, as you know, President Trump's the first president who has addressed this issue. This has been an issue both with Republicans and Democrats, and the president just wants to have a level playing field. And I think Phase 1 is an enormous step in the right direction. We have intellectual property protection. We have financial services that are going to be opened up. We have a currency chapter. We have agricultural structural changes. And this is going to be great for our farmers. They're buying a lot of goods.
And importantly, the enforcement mechanism within this deal. Ambassador Lighthizer, the president, you have all talked about that importance. How strong is the enforcement mechanism in Phase 1 as it stands now?
Well, it's very strong. The enforcement chapter is closed out. So this is the enforcement chapter that is going to be throughout the entire agreement. And it is binding. It has a binding mechanism. And again, this is the first time we've ever had an agreement with China on the trade front that has a binding enforcement mechanism.
It strikes me that this president has done something that's, first of all, it's historic, of course, but it's as historic achievements are, it's unprecedented, because this is a president ahead of the International Monetary Fund, ahead of the World Bank, any other organization in the country, in the world, saying we're going to have balanced trade, we're going to have reciprocal trade. And he has begun now to balance international trading relationships with China, USMCA, and let's not forget the agreement, the trading agreement with Japan and South Korea. I mean, this has been a spectacular demonstration of a man leading all of the major financial institutions as well as the regulatory and intermediaries around the globe.
You're 100% correct, Lou, and the president's been very clear. He wants free trade, but it's got to be free and fair and reciprocal. And in the case of China, our markets had been open to them. Their markets had not been open to us. And this phase one agreement is about rebalancing it.
You know, you use the expression, he wants free trade. I once had a discussion with Larry Kudlow on this. I've never heard the president talk about free trade. I've heard him talk about fair and reciprocal trade. Free trade connotes 4 decades of failure in terms of managing balances, in terms of reciprocity. It represents 50 years of consecutive trade deficits. I haven't heard the expression, frankly, free trade for months now, perhaps a year or so, until the deal is done, and now it's starting to be constructed a bit, and correct me if I'm wrong, as a free trade deal. I think it's more a fair and reciprocal trade deal. Straighten me out.
I don't think this is a free trade deal. I think this is a reciprocal trade deal. And, you know, the president's been very clear on reciprocal tariffs and reciprocal trade and balanced trade. And from the first meeting we had with President Xi and President Trump brought this up. He said, we need to have balanced trade. This has to be that it works in both directions. And that was acknowledged by President Xi. And we've been working on it for 2 years. We're going to be releasing the agreement soon. And I think people will see this is a real agreement with real chapters and real enforcement.
And just a couple of things, if I may, that before we wrap up here. And I've just got to, again, congratulate you, the president, the administration, Ambassador Lighthizer. I mean, it's astounding what has been achieved here. I don't think much of the media is giving you the credit that you deserve because it is historic. It's extraordinary.